Welcome to Digital Asset News, take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets, and break it down to bite-sized pieces. Today, we've got some scary stories. First up, Grayscale's Bitcoin buying spree implies it could own 10% of all Bitcoin by 2024. Also, New York State is finally considering altering their BIT license, which would open up a massive amount of people to actually get in and push this space into the forefront. And Coinbase wants to teach you about altcoins and pay you to do it. So before we do that, let's take a look at what's going on in the market. Today, it is June 26, almost 2 o'clock p.m. Texas time. And not too much. It's an odd day because, Bitcoin, we've had nothing but good stories. We had the PayPal and Venmo, 7-Eleven, Rite Aid, and all the different things that are going on with Bakkt and institutions and Fidelity and Galaxy Digital. Yet, a downward slide. So negative 1%. Now it's at 91.58. I think yesterday it actually went below 9,000. So interesting. Ethereum 229, Tether's Tether, XRP. Wow, 18 cents. Watch out. Bitcoin Cash and SV and Nothing really fantastic. Peso's taking a little bit of a hit today, 4.8%. Leo token up 2.5%. And that's the only gainer really. No, except for Compound. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That one just keeps rising meteorically. As it's been listed on Coinbase Pro and now Coinbase. So interesting, and we're going to take a look at that in just a bit. So let's just jump into what I think is a scary story. So Grayscale could own 10% of all Bitcoin by 2024. What the heck is going on here? Grayscale or Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and they have other trusts. They have Ethereum Trust, an XRP Trust, different cryptocurrencies under management, and they actually were created all the way back in 2013, September 25th. And just recently they put out their own investment report. And at the time, this was after Q1 2020, so this is in April, and they had 2.2 billion assets under management. And then just a couple months ago, somehow, they've just been buying up everything, and now they're at 3.7 billion. And of course, the majority of their investors, 88%, are institutions dominated by hedge funds. That was for the first quarter of 2020. And then, of course, last year, it was 79% institutional investors dominated by hedge funds. So these guys, they really have their hands or the pulse on what is going on as far as institutional investors. And this article states that since the halving event, Grayscale has bought Bitcoins, plural, worth close to 500 million. So, $500 million, not a bad shopping spree, making it the largest Bitcoin accumulator in the market. And that's saying something because I'm sure behind the scenes, we always think about, these huge entities that are just buying up things secretly. But Grayscale is like, hey, we're making no bones about it. We're buying up everything and catch us if you can. So, an analysis by crypto expert Kevin Rook estimates that the firm has spent around 184 million buying roughly 19,000 Bitcoins over the last 1 week period. That puts its total Bitcoin accumulation around 53,000 Bitcoin since the halving. Man, that's a lot. According to Rook, the investment firm seems to be buying more Bitcoin that is being mined. Over the last week, miners produced 7,000 Bitcoin roughly. And Grayscale bought 19,000 Bitcoin, or almost 20,000. So if you have sold a whole Bitcoin, a part of a Bitcoin, a tenth of a Bitcoin over the last, month, 2 months, 3 months, chances are Grayscale bought it all. Moving down, Grayscale could own 10% of all Bitcoin. So a simple breakdown of the firm's buying rate puts the daily amount at around over 1,000 Bitcoin per day. That's a lot. Grayscale's buying rate means that it will own about 3.4% of all the Bitcoin in the market by January 2021. Now this, of course, is leading up to the fact, or if it actually is correct, that they continue on with this buying spree. I thought they were going to slow down. I was obviously wrong. It looks like they're actually either pretty much staying the same or actually ramping up buying operations. So it looks like this article could be correct. And what's scary to me is to have just one entity, one business control so much of a revolution that it teeters on the whole part of what somewhat could be considered centralization. So who knows? Anyhow, besides the aggressive Bitcoin accumulation, Grayscale seems to have an eye on Ethereum. It currently holds close to 400 million in ETH. And this is why, of course, I have accumulated heavy Bitcoin and Ethereum, among other cryptocurrencies. Actually, I'll just tell you. So right now, I will tell you exactly what my holdings are. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, EOS, Tezos, and also Stellar. So if I talk about these projects a lot, it's because I don't try to be biased, but I am biased. And that's just how it is. So when you own a lot, you tend to talk about those same projects again and again and again. So moving down, it says, and this is just to finish up, Bitcoin's history has it that many market movements have been triggered by huge bag holders activity. In that case, Grayscale could be positioning itself in a prime spot to spur the market. And as far as investments are concerned, the movement can only be expected to trigger Bitcoin bulls in the future. Basically, Grayscale's accumulation of Bitcoin could very well work out in favor of the top coin in the long run. So here's my thoughts. We did a video yesterday and it talked about Chamath Palihapitiya, and what he pretty much said was that he at one point owned about 1 million Bitcoin. Now he says that he has since sold some and transferred some and so on and so forth. He never really tells you the exact amount. So I would still put it that he's got around probably 500,000, 500,000 Bitcoin or more, who knows. And what he said in there, which made a lot of sense, he said, look, at some point, traders will eventually sell to people like me, older people who just want to invest and sit on our investments, which will only increase the price of Bitcoin. And I couldn't agree more. I think this goes to another article which talked about the amount of people that are actually investing into Bitcoin, which out of the whole 18.5 million roughly Bitcoin that's actually available right now, you've got investors who are sitting on 11.4 Bitcoin. And it looks like Grayscale is gobbling up a lot of that and just sitting on it, just like Chamath. This is what's been lost, we assume, around 3.7, and this is what is actually affecting the price. Traders out there, as it moves hands, as they put it into futures, as they took a look at this and do that, and they're trading it all over the place, and this is what causes a lot of fluctuation in prices, just 3.5 million. So as time goes on, just like Chamath said, he goes, look, there's going to be people who are going to trade, and there's going to be people that are going to come into this space, and they're going to be investors, people like me, people who are older, maybe even the baby boomers. We've seen different articles about that. They're coming into this space as well. They're like, look, I'm not a trader. I'm just here to invest, and this is the best asset class that has ever been created, and I'm going to actually get into this and just hold it. And once you have these types of investors who just sit there and hold and hold and hold and don't trade, well, now you got a problem. Not a big problem. You got a problem is that you don't have the actual liquidity because everything is sitting on it, and it's called supply and demand. There's a ton of demand. Sorry, there's no supply because we're not trading it. And what happens then? Price goes up. So when I originally read this article, I thought to myself, this is not good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and digital assets, but I will say this, it is good probably for the price because it seems like the more type of traders we have and the more type of shenanigans that are going on out there, it's just not good for this space. So if we have investors come in and just sit around and hold it and don't move at all, what's that going to do? It's going to increase the price. And I think that's what's going to lead to mass adoption because it just like we saw in 2017, when that price went up sky high, people aren't like you and me. They're not going to sit around and say, you know what, I want to invest low, sell high. No. I'm going to buy high and then I'm going to sell low. And that's the problem with most people. So I think once that price starts to skyrocket up, and especially once we go past the all-time high and we start to hit 30, 40, 50, it's game over. Next up, this is a pretty interesting one. So New York State, which I believe has been crippling innovation, they are responsible for BitLicense, and what's going to happen is they're actually going to look at limiting the amount of regulation they do. So this is actually good news with a caveat. So in June 2015, the New York State Department of Financial Services, or DFS, issued its virtual currency regulation, also known as the BitLicense regulation. And it states since 2015, DFS has granted 25 virtual currency licenses and charters to ensure New Yorkers have a well-regulated way to access the virtual currency marketplace, and that New York remains at the center of technological innovation and forward-looking regulation. So that whole sentence right there, I got to call BS on that, because forward-looking regulation and technological innovation, this BitLicense has been stifling innovation since 2015, and it's been nothing but problems. Now, I understand they want to be safe. I understand they want to have regulation, but there's a thing called over-regulation when people just step in and there's just too much going on, and it's such a hassle. So for all the people who live in New York, sorry. It's better to not be there as far as like cryptocurrency digital assets. And I just feel like it's actually slowed down innovation. And if it was so awesome, they wouldn't need to actually amend it and make provisions. So if it was so fantastic, why are they doing this? Anyhow, let's move on. DFS recognizes that some firms may face actual or perceived hurdles in obtaining a BIT license. Well, obviously, these include a rigorous application process which can involve a significant expenditure of time and resources for applicants, fulfilling the regulatory requirements for strong governance, operational and compliance controls, and capital, among others. So, very long way to say that, you know what, sorry, we just stifle innovation, but we have to do it because we like to regulate. So here's what they're planning to do. So there's a proposed conditional licensing framework, and they're going to tend to allow a new entrant, somebody who is just on the outside looking in and going, hey, I want a BIT license, to work in collaboration with an authorized BIT licensee or a holder of a New York limited purpose trust charter. Each of each entity. During the term of the conditional BIT license, a conditional license, and the holder of such a license, a conditional licensee, the framework can be utilized by a variety of entities like the startups, growth companies, VCs, all those types of things. And this is established New York companies not yet conducting any virtual currency business activity, and established virtual currency companies now operating outside New York. And essentially what they're doing is they're asking for comments on this framework, and they're just kind of putting their toes in the water going, should we do this? Should we not do this? And I'm just here to say you should do this, because if you don't do it, you're going to be left behind, just like the rest of America. Look, everything out there is fantastic type of fertile soil for cryptocurrency and digital assets. The problem is that when you have too much regulation and people are feeling stifled, they can't do anything. What do? They leave and they go someplace better. And that's what I think is going to happen here. So I wish America would stop dragging its feet. I wish those laws that were actually put into Congress that are going to be voted on actually get sped up. And I just hope that things actually increase, because I can tell you right now, working with banks as a business owner is a damn nightmare, and that's just how it is. So I do think that this is great for a couple of reasons. Obviously, on the first part, you're going to get innovation and things are actually going to start to move in the right direction. The second thing is that in business, it's all about, who you know, not what you know, it's who you know. And if you have somebody who's coming into the space like, hey, I need to get a BIT license, they can go to these companies who have already obtained a BIT license and just say, hey, what did you guys do? How do I jump through these hoops? What's the right paperwork? Who's the right person to talk to? And that's really what really gets the grease on the wheels to get things going. So I think it's a fantastic resolution. Hopefully it goes through. We'll see what happens. Let's move on. Last up, Coinbase will now pay you to learn about these 5 altcoins. And I'm not going to read the article. It's just kind of like a fluff piece. I mean, it's well written and everything. That's fine. But here's the down and dirty of it. You go to Coinbase, and if you go to earn crypto, you can get about $161 right now just by watching some videos and answering some questions. Now, if you followed the channel for a while, you understand that I actually do not recommend Bitcoin or Coinbase, because they've had so many problems. First of all, they keep having shutdowns. They've had 3 shutdowns in 4 months. And I just heard they had a shutdown a couple of days ago. I couldn't verify it, but sure. And it seems to happen every time when Bitcoin fluctuates wildly, like if it's more than $500. That's what a report that was put out. So you have that issue. And if you keep having shutdowns when the price is dramatically falling or dramatically going up, my worry is, will I be able to sell when I have to implement my exit strategy? And if I can't, then why would I use Coinbase? They're worthless to me. So there's that issue. The second issue is that they are going to be selling some analytics platform called Coinbase Analytics to the IRS and the DEA, and I just don't like it. Now look, I've been paying taxes since I was a 15-year-old kid. I have nothing to hide, but me and you have all gone through the same type of procedures. We've gone through the KYC, we've gone through the AML, we're going to get a 1099 for taxes. We're all going to pay because we don't want to go through an audit, let's be honest. But at what point, how much more information do you need from me? I'm not a, Big Brother's watching and you got to watch out. I'm not that kind of guy. But at some point, I'm like, look, enough's enough. I'm going to stop this. On top of the fact that Coinbase has some outrageous fees. So needless to say, I am not too thrilled with Coinbase. However, I have to take a step back and just think to myself, okay, what's the best thing here? So like I just talked about, first of all, if you have a Coinbase account, there's nothing wrong with going there and earning some, easy to use crypto. I mean, you're gonna get $160. It's gonna go over Compound. You can learn about Compound. You can learn about Orchid, Tezos, EOS, all those great things, right? And they'll pay you, like in EOS, they pay you $50. Hey, not too bad. Orchid, they give you 46, and Compound, a whopping $9. But they're like 3-minute videos, I believe, and it's pretty fast. So why would I stop anybody from doing that? It makes sense, right? The second thing is that the fees are an issue. I mean, the fees, this exchange fees spreadsheet, you can find this in every one of my videos in the description by clicking on the link right here. And that's going to take you to a Google spreadsheet, and it's going to have all the exchange wallets that either I have used and recommend or do not recommend. Right now, Coinbase has pretty high fees, and that's not a good thing, and everything else we just talked about. However, Coinbase Pro has some pretty reasonable fees. And if you have Coinbase, you can just get Coinbase Pro. I don't remember how it all works. I think you have to email them or something and get into there or just sign up. And the fees are pretty not too awful, we'll say. And then Gemini, they have their fees, not so bad. And there's also a thing called Gemini Pro, or actually Gemini Active Trader. A subscriber actually reach out to me and go, hey, you can just email them and say, hey, I want to be a part of Gemini Active Trader. They just emailed me. I sent them yesterday. They emailed me today and said, yes, here's your access, and they give you access to it. And again, I mean, their fees are like super low, right? And we also got Uphold, Abra app, Simple Swap, Kraken. I mean, I haven't evaluated Kraken, but everything's right there for you. So if you want to take a look at that, sure. Some have affiliate fees, some don't. But I will tell you this, I highly recommend Uphold and Abra. I don't have an affiliate link, but you can click on there and sign up. They're fantastic. So moving back to Coinbase, I believe that at some point you have to pick the lesser of two evils. And if this parabolic bull run, the next one, goes any way, shape, or form like 2017, which I think it's going to be double, triple, quadruple what that was, you're going to see exactly what happened like in 2017, which was and I remember on Binance, I remember on Coinbase, I think there was a couple other ones, you could not sign up to be a part of that exchange. You couldn't get an account. There were people that were selling their Binance accounts for like hundreds of dollars. There was nothing in there, but they were just selling the actual accounts. So that was a problem when you were trying to implement your exit strategy. So imagine this nightmare scenario. So you have signed up for everything. You've done your due diligence. You're like, okay, here's my exit strategy. At these price points, I'm going to get out. You try to do it, and then you're locked out. Then you try to do it again, you're locked out. And this happens for days, weeks, I don't know, maybe a month. And if you watch my video on Bull Run Basics, you're going to know like the last two times, you got like 4 weeks. You got 3 to 4 weeks to really catch that falling knife and cash out during that parabolic bull run. So my thing is this. I will probably, if none of these work, if I can't use Gemini or Gemini Pro or something happens, if I can't use Uphold to cash out and Abra app and whatever else, and Coinbase is there and they're up, I'm going to use them to cash out. Now, the lesser of two evils. I am not going to use Coinbase to buy any cryptocurrency. I don't think they've earned that right yet, and I think we need to vote with our pocketbook. So I'm not going to pay these fees, not even on Coinbase Pro, but if I have to, I will use them to cash out. It only makes sense to me. Right now, what I'm using heavily is Gemini. Now I'm going to use Active Trader, but they have this nice little dollar cost average. I don't even think about it. I just set it in, forget it, like the Ronco food dehydrator, and everything's good. I just, I put in $100 of Bitcoin every week, and I just Ethereum 150 every week, and I just set it, and I'm like, whatever, it's going on. I can do all the rest of my things, all my other business that I have to take care of. So that's probably what I will do, and I'm going to probably change over some things going forward. So first thing I'll do is I will have to update the Bull Run Basics, which I was actually doing before I started to record this video, so that'll be out today. There's also two other, and that is the Bitcoin elevator pitch, which will help you to really disseminate the information so you don't sound like a raving lunatic when you're trying to tell people about Bitcoin. It just boils it down to like really 4 sentences. The other one is about crypto taxes, and we're going to talk about the program that I use to make sure that I get everything right, because if you don't know, I've been through a IRS audit before years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's like the worst stressful thing that you could possibly be a part of. So this is why I recommend this program. It's the same thing that I use. So I'll be pushing those, all 4 of them actually, will be out today. So it'll be an interesting day. And that's it for today. So thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. If you don't know, underneath there's a join button. If you want to join, you don't really get anything special, but it is just like a tip. So it goes to help support me and this channel. So I really appreciate it. So level 1s, they give a couple bucks, and I just say, hey, thanks everybody, really appreciate it. Level 2s give a little more, and I give them a shout out. So shout out to All Right Soft, Wen Mullet, myself, who else? Dave Plummer, Grant Sharman, Bruce Wood, Baking Benjamins for the Tezos, Noel Flippin Vegas, Martin Lewin, Michael Ralph, William Howell, Crazy Crypto Canuck, Tessie Ryosaki Positive, JC Durix, Crypto Veritas, John Miller, The Office, El Merg, Michael Jeffrey, The Kel Show, Mage Research, Andrew Herrera, Terry Prosperi, XRP Carolina, Whatever, AE, and then Hero Soap Company. And also, just as a little PSA, make sure that if you get an email, I don't have anybody's email, but somehow this guy, gal, I don't know who it is, Dan Digital Asset New at Gmail, they've been emailing all my subscribers, and they're asking them to be a part of a trading group, which I don't do trading. So if you get that, that's a scam. My email is just Dan Digital Asset News with an S at gmail.com, and that's just for business inquiries only. So you shouldn't get an email from me. I have nothing to sell. All right, so thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. See ya on the next one, or catch the other 3 that are coming out today.